watched consistently together on a weekly basis. And we meant to do season. I think what we should say is we're probably going to at some point do a rewatch of season 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah,
I think that's going to happen. But because season four, yep, is actually out. I think we're going to just start with where we're at, because I think annoyingly we figured out a lot of stuff so early. As well, the biggest one that we figured out. Well, I think I figured out, and then we kind of jumped on it, was the reincarnation shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting going I think that's it. And then the moment we figured out that's what was happening, I was like, why are we not making videos? Why have we missed this moment? Famous. That's what we should have been for this. So we don't really have a name for this show. I think we're actually going to call it To and From. To and From the review, right, is what we're going to go with. But for this one, as such, what we're going to do for this one, solid out the fact the episode came out and we had work and stuff, so it just wasn't going to work out.
Jabs.
So yeah, life got in the way of this one. So this one we're going to just do a kind of general review, go through the kind of episode, and then pick up on points that we have for it.
I've got written down here.
Yeah,
which you can't see good.
Aye, but going forward for it, it's going to be proper watch-alongs that we're going to be doing. And then cutting up things like that, and then doing reviews at the end of it and stuff. So the future episodes will be way more constructed for what I think is going to be a better way.
Yeah. So
the episode, we should just run down the general episode. I think, right?
That's easy. Every single fucking person.
Aye, you hate everyone. Aye, Aaron hates everybody in the show.
I was happy.
I was in this kind of weird category of being what the fuck's going on? So much was happening. I felt like it threw a crazy amount of info at us straight off the bat, and then it made me have to rewatch a lot of it, because I was like, how much of this have I clocked properly?
Aye.
So let's just go through. I'm going to do my version of less than a minute of what kind of happens, right? So episode starts. We don't talk about the fucking fact that it does a recap, right? I like the fact it did it, but we didn't actually need it. I still watched it though, annoyingly. But so Jim's just had his throat ripped out by the man in yellow.
Yes.
The wee kid, Julie, has just done a fucking Danhausen. You'll not know that reference, but it'll make sense to other people. She's done a full-on Danhausen and fucking disappeared, right? Yeah. Brilliant. Jim tells him to get fucked. And then from that moment, we jump to Miranda and the other kids and all them being like, "Oh, what's going on?" So we know there's time skippy shit happening.
Yes.
Then there's a pastor, because I'm going to skip the whole fucking birth bit, right? Because I think that kind of was summed up in the recap.
Yeah.
But ultimately, baby born, baby actually big smiley baby covered in blood. That's basically what happens, right? There's a priest that comes into town and fucking annihilates the police station.
Oh god, that.
They then have to save the child while the pastor is out cold.
I don't even think they say the name.
I don't think they do either. I don't think they actually do either.
Did anybody even ask? They're just
and then
Christian. Oh,
kid turns out to be man in yellow, kills pastor. 47. That's the recap. So let's go through it.
Yes. So starting off then with Jim's bullshit pissed me off. So as Connor said, through the whole thing I just get annoyed each character. I get why, but they still annoy me. So Jim fucking to be fair, not just Jim, his fucking bullshit daughter. She fucking. So we don't really know exactly how they do it, except that Zach story forth in time and stuff. So we're not 100% sure how it fully works. It shows up, starts grabbing them, saying, "We need to run, we need to go." But as soon as Jim on his bullshit that he does, is "Oh no, you need to tell me what's going on. I need to know everything at this very fucking second." And then Man in Yellow shows up. And at that point, I do get, I think it was you even said it, it is the daytime. Why would you expect it to be some sort of monster?
Yeah.
But still, you don't know a guy, you've never seen him, and your first thought is to go, "Who are you?" the first thing I'd be doing is running. My daughter can lie like over there. I just need to be faster than her.
It's like one of us is telling the story.
Yeah.
One of us can be the storyteller. It's going to be me, Jim. Yeah, I think from that point where it was like, so I also have like a kind of like weird headcanon thing going on with that one where I actually think Jim, I know Aaron says it as Bill, it's his best, which was Jim knows the voice from the phone.
Yeah. So
And kind of clocks that that's who
the
it
guy
is.
on the radio, it's the same. At least I think it's the same voice. I would
think
have to go
it is.
fully back and check, but he even references it where he's like, I can't remember. if
Why'd
it's
your wife dig that hole, Jim?
Yeah.
Why'd you open the box?
Aye. So it's like, yeah, it kind of tells you that was him, but it's like.
I still think as well though, right? So I also am in this kind of weird convinced mode of I actually think that whole segment is a time skip as well. So like for instance, I don't think so see how like when we get to the next scene where obviously like we're going to say the present, right? Kids are talking to the mum, right? I don't think Jim's dead at that point either. Right? I don't think Jim's dead at that point. I think Jim's still alive. For the now at least, right? For now at least, I think that's a time skippy bit. I think we're going to get into the territory of a lot of time skips and a lot of things that don't actually correlate to each other, and we're not going to know. And we're not going to know as viewers what parts are in sequence, because I still think the way he says "fuck you" to the guy came across as way much more of like a knowledge based "fuck you." Like it just came off more personal than just a fuck you. Do you know what I mean?
I just think it's because he knew the voice and he was like,
I'm still convinced. I'm still convinced there's more to it. But I think there's still a time skip element to this that's now going to be majorly expanded on. Because obviously we know wee Julie is kicking about fucking time warping and shit like that, right? And she's got a different fucking haircut and everything like that, right? So shit is clear. And there's shit happening. So she must be able to go way back into the past. She may be even able to go forward as well, like because they do say right that the story's already written, right, which would imply there's an end point, right, which means if they're at like the midway, if they're at chapter 10 of 20, she must be able to skip to chapter 20 basically, like because the story's written, because the story's written. So like I'm thinking like there's going to be moments where she goes further into the future, or we end up finding out potentially they're further in the past than we think they are as well.
It would be fucking hilarious if they were before the Civil War.
Well, it's not why
like,
that would be
true.
But imagine like for instance like there's a world where like they could be like, so like obviously like Boyd's family shows up and then his wife goes on the fucking murder spree, right? I'm convinced that's what we're setting up for, because I think everything runs in a cycle. And I think that the absolute massacre of the town is the cycle, which leads to, I think we should just jump into 47.
Yes.
Right? Because
we did the math.
Yeah, 47 it's such a fucking their number that's said, which is why I'm kind of like, something has to be very apparent with this. Like, it's far too fucking.
I mean, he says it around. I think it's when he's checking the bullets.
Yeah, he's checking the bullets.
And
so we know Boyd has a box of bullets. We don't know if he has a shotgun yet, though, right? But we assume there has to be a shotgun somewhere.
A shotgun somewhere.
And then at the same time as well, he's counting for the idea of, if the monsters are legit going to win, can I do? What's that? What was that?
Can I make decorations with my blood?
No, I was actually thinking like it's like ironically it's like, it says it not the mist. With like the kid when we're in the car and he counts the bullets. Like, it's good, and I bet this is the thing, right? Because I bet you're going to end up counting those bullets, right? And it's going to be 46. I bet that's what's going to happen,
It'll
right?
be 46 and a half.
And it's going to be 46, right? Boyd's going to kill everybody, right? And then the government's going to come in and say, like, that would be so funny if they just flaming and Mr. Smiley's like, you bastards. Like, there's definitely something to it though. Like, so I'm like, okay, there's something to this. This is getting interesting because he's now counting for, do we have to do the pact? I think that then obviously leads into the fact that the pastor comes into town.
Yes. And
the pastor fucking annihilates
the police
station while they're doing the count. Kinda. Yeah. There definitely is a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
obviously then they save the kid who
Yeah.
had the big fucking everything around her neck.
Big metal bit that
And
just
was fucking annoying, to be fair. Like, there's a level
Yeah.
of panic and there's a level of like, oh hi sweetie, can we like not have you slit your throat? I'd be like, shut the fuck up or I'm pushing it forward.
yeah.
Like, just let us get
See
this
that
shit sorted.
accelerator?
Like
Slightly
oh,
push.
is my dad alright? He's way more calm than you.
Yeah.
Like, so like they get her out and then they then use the ambulance that seems to be the most stalked fucking thing on the planet. Right? And they get her
We still
off.
have fuel.
Yeah, they still have fuel. They
Which-
still have like too many supplies for an ambulance anyway. But we're not going to talk about it. They have ambulance supplies out the wazoo, and they take her and then the dad or the pastor up to the
The medical
the
center.
medical
clinic.
centre, yeah, the clinic. And then obviously that then unravels a little bit more. Then the kid's talking to what's his name? The
Kenny.
wee Kenny, aye. So she's talking to Kenny, and then they're talking about the talismans and stuff like that, and talking about how everything here is fucked. And then we get that mega fucking moment.
I'll let you do it.
Well, what better you think's the moment?
I mean, either the fucking wee hand thing, or what you call it, like the fucking, how to say that, like, she touches the pastor's chest.
Ah, that wakes it. I think the
Yeah.
fact she was able to just wake him up by saying like "wake up," and I'm like, that is a very good way to get somebody out of a coma.
Yeah,
I just-
fucking medical.
So like, aye, but she then
Doctors
she
don't
then,
want you to know this.
aye, she then does the fucking smiley facey shit, and she's like, "Oh, this is my favorite fucking part. Thanks for fucking being my ticket in here."
Yeah.
And then she kills him,
Yeah,
and that also like fucks everything up because it's still
that's why it goes back to 47. We have to.
right. Aye, so let's just fucking go heavy in on this 47, right? So the main thing is I don't think 47's the number. I actually am starting to think 50's the number. Right? Because I feel as if it's coming to a point of it being like I don't think 47's like the peak and then it all goes off. I feel as if there's something else to happen and this is right on the cusp of it. So I think 47 is the number to worry about, but I think maybe like 3 or 4 numbers in is going to be the scenario. Like I think when it hits like 50, it's going to be like, oh, that's the reset number. So like I think the as you were saying, like the realm can only maybe hold so many people.
Yeah, so that is something. The reason why I'm still saying it's 47 is the max the realm can hold, and it has to be people, not monsters or anything like that. It has to be people, and the reason why she was inside the road, or he was on the side of the road, was because he actually can't go into these places either for certain amounts of time, or it's like a kind of countdown time of like you're in here for so long, you have to then leave, and the only way he can get in is by basically, they're not vampires, but they
Well,
have
they're
to be
they have to
accepted.
be invited in. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to be invited.
And so, perfect person, the pastor, who is well, I'm supposedly guessing he was a kind man, was like, come in my car, we'll keep driving. Perfect way to get into the place because
Yep.
he's invited her in. But then that's the next thing. So 47 was how many people at that time were in like the realm.
Yeah.
He made it 48. But as
See,
soon as
that's-
she got in and like got along with him, back to 47 because she killed him. Which means
But here's the thing. No, but here's also
Why?
so here's the other thing as well, right? So like one of the big things I think is I think the man in yellow is very locked to the story. I don't think the man in yellow gets to actually fuck with the story. Because obviously the whole thing is the story's written,
Yeah.
right? That's what he's saying. So if the story's written, he can only follow the bits of the story he has to do,
yeah,
right? Like a narrator reading the book, he has to read what's in front of him. He can't like go off script.
I can't probably.
Right. Because see, when you think about it, this is also where the timey-wimey shit comes in. Jim dies, right?
Yeah.
Before the pastor comes in, right? But again, when the pastor comes in, 2 people come in, right? So like, if the number was 47, when Kenny says the number's 47, right? We know in episodic scenario, we know that Jim's been killed, right?
Yeah.
We know he's dead, but 2 people enter.
Yeah.
What if this whole time thing is like a whole fucking thing? Because like, does the man in yellow actually kill him first and then continue the story, or is that part of the story that's done that allows him then the option to? Because think about it, right? He's already in the fucking realm.
Yeah.
So how can he basically say I need to hitchhike into the fucking realm if he's in the fucking realm?
Well, it might be
He
like
kills them in the realm,
like
right? This is why I'm thinking there's a whole time thing, right? Because I think he's in the realm at that point in time because the story dictates he's in it, right? Which implies that the pastor and I think the kid actually show up before Jim dies. This is why I think the time's all reverted and there's things to happen, because he can't be in the realm but then tell the audience by telling the pastor I actually needed to hitchhike into the realm, because that makes fuck all sense because he was already in the realm.
Yeah, but it could be like
so I think
where it's like there's the
well, this is the thing,
it,
but this is the thing. So
warp.
I think what's happening is when he's in the realm at that time skip moment, I think that's so separate to what actually is happening in the story, right? So like when they're like, oh, where's dad, where's Jim, where is he at? I don't think that's even. There's a high chance, right? I don't even think that's going to be fucking related to what happens to Jim when he gets his throat ripped out. Like I think Jim legit might have been out fucking picking berries for all we know, right? And that's the segment we're getting. But then when he gets his throat ripped out, the man in yellow's already there, but needed to hitchhike into town. Like that makes no sense because he's in the fucking town. Like they're already in the realm. So I'm sitting going like, I think Jim dies after the pastor. Right, so I think the numbering. This is why I don't think 47's the full number, because I think he hitchhikes in because he has to hitchhike into the realm for that time frame.
Yeah.
But once he's in that time frame, the story then continues and he does what he needs to do, which then can lead to the point where Jim gets his throat ripped out. So I'm thinking it's something on those lines specifically. That's what I'm thinking. I think we've seen two different time frames of the man in yellow. And it's so perfectly fucking put together when it does look as if he rips the throat out and then comes into town.
Yeah, what it could be, still gets to 47, because technically, if he kills Jim, it would go down to 46, but then he covers Jim for the number 47.
No.
Because he kills A2.
But this is the thing. If the
so
number 47 is so fucking important, the problem is it goes over 47.
A small bit, and then
I still think like the number still had to go up as such. Like it's a tough one. Like that one's going to be like the biggest fucking like. There's something to it. I'm also still.
It's gonna be like the number's actually 12.
Yeah, something like that.
Stupid.
Like there's so much fucking to it. There's so much to it, and I was just like, this. Like I'm thinking, what else would they have in the list?
Alright, so here we go. Because I wrote. So we've talked about Jim's bullshit.
Yep.
The daughter's bullshit I did talk about at the start.
Yeah.
Yep. Fatima, she annoyed me. Because
but she just had a win that turned out to be a monster. Like, that's a tough one to deal
back
with.
to 47. So again.
But I don't think the monsters count.
Yeah, but she was like, oh, it wasn't in my belly. The ultra scan wasn't there. And it's like...
Yeah, because the scan, as you said, the scan shows nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
so
kind of weird.
Never increased.
So the number never increases. But then we get to see the bad monsters like pact with the devil basically for what immortality actually means.
Yeah.
Which is basically they can't die naturally. So they die through some mad like black magic basically is how he gets killed with the whole like your blood is mine shit.
Yeah,
right?
It's that virus
so like
thing.
yeah, I think it's just bad. I think it's just
bad juju.
bad voodoo magic kind of thing is what kills him. And then he's still immortal, which is why he's reborn as the fetus thing. Like that's what I think happens. So it's like I think they're tricked into this form of immortality, which isn't just you live forever. I think it's you live forever in this bubble realm.
So yeah, that was the kind of headcanon I'm going with is that the man in yellow is not the entity like that owns the realm, but is the middleman, because somebody has to show the original monsters, hey, if you do sacrifice your kid, look, I'm immortal type of thing, to trick them into sacrificing. I don't want it to
I feel like he's like the man of the crossroads kind of analogy, like the devil on the crossroads sort of thing. Yeah. I think it's something like that. as such, because we still don't necessarily know what pack this original group made either. Like, we know they made
Well,
the pack
yeah.
for Immortality, but we don't know really when they actually did it.
Yeah,
As such,
they
we
could
don't
only
really
kind
know.
of guesstimate the time by their clothes, and I think it was like
Yeah,
like
and
the
I think, and
1700s
the
or
more I
1800s.
think about it as well, it's like, how old actually are they? To the point where, is it just they're picking up clothes as the years go on? Because, like, if they just cycle through all these different people coming in, like, eventually they will get more up to date clothes. I think the bit that I find weird though is the fact that they look as if they're stuck in like the 70s, but clearly we're in the 2000s beyond
Yeah, I'm
for
pretty sure it's
everyone
like
else,
20,
which is
25,
weird that they
23.
don't. It's kind of weird that at no point have they updated their clothes. But then, is that maybe like when because the talismans is discovered by Boyd,
Yeah,
so
it was in that wee hut,
the rules of the
like a
game
tree.
are so different. Like, it's such a weird one, because I still am convinced that I think they have rules that they follow as a game.
Make it more fun.
And yeah, that's what they do to pass the time. So before Boyd finds the talismans, right? And I'm also convinced the talismans don't work. I think it's just part of the game. The same how when Miranda's like when Miranda gets reincarnated, she was the wee lad's mum, and she runs through the forest, and then those fuckers Usain Bolt after her because they realise, oh shit, she's figured out how to get out.
Yeah,
And that must break some level of the cycle. I think if the cycle breaks, that
goes with
fucks
them,
everything.
yeah.
Like, I think
Immortality
I think they're tied to the cycle. So I think when they're saying how the story's already been written,
yeah,
like, I think the idea is you've got the start of the story, them making the pact, end of the story is going to just, I don't even think it has to be somebody gets out necessarily, but I think the end of the story I think the end of the story would be actually just individually when they die and they get reborn to the start of the story. Because I think it's just a circle. Like, I think the whole thing, it just keeps going round, and different people, essentially, like, only two people I think are getting reincarnated. Like, so you get the tech guy and Miranda. I think those are the reincarnations from probably the people who tried to save the kids the first time round. But then,
or at least when, hey, actually I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So a wee bit of my kind of theory on that was yes, they were originally a part of the big sacrifice of everyone giving their children, but in the end they went, do you know what? This isn't right. Try to stop it, and so they still got the immortality. But it does tie them to the realm
it feels as if it's like they get the reincarnation part.
Yeah.
See, I actually think it's not that they got the immortality; they got the reincarnation part, because they can die, but then they keep getting reborn and finding their way back, because the story dictates that they have to get back to the start of the story for this cycle.
Yeah.
So, like, I think the whole thing with it is when what's the wee old guy now that was the kid?
Victor.
Victor's mum basically, I think, had found the point of, I know how to break the cycle, which is basically her escaping, essentially. Because if she escapes,
I think she was running to the tree.
She was running to the tree to try and go through the tree, because I think she's figured out how she can escape. But I think by her also escaping is what breaks the cycle, because it basically means that the monsters have no control of her death.
Yeah.
Which means if she dies outside of the realm, I would imagine if she dies outside of the realm, there's no dictation of power. So she just dies and the cycle ends, because the story can't restart. Yeah, because the story needs the two. It needs the guy and the girl to always come back. So I think the fact was the monsters follow they follow the story without knowing they're following the story. But they're also following the games of their own. They're all following the rules of their own game, which is walk, stalk, all that sort of stuff. But the moment they realised the game was up, fucker just bolts and goes, "Nope, she got to die." And then and then what I realise is, if you think about it, right, is that's why they massacre the town that time, right? Because they had to fucking reset everything, and the monsters don't know which two of them are the ones getting reincarnated. So they go, fuck it.
It's a game of hide and seek type of thing.
We don't know who. We know who we want. We know the girl, but we don't know the guy. And because they don't know the guy, they're like, yeah, fuck it, just nuke the whole town and we'll start again.
Yeah.
Which I think's where we get. That's where I think that's the last big cycle, basically. But they didn't get Victor, because Victor was in his own, had his proper hiding spot that they actually didn't know about, which I still think is bullshit. But we'll
I'm pretty sure it was that fucking cellar, was it not?
It's the cellar, yeah,
Yeah,
and
which
they don't
have
know.
an underground bit to it.
Aye,
Which is like
but they
how-
don't know it's there for some reason. So
Yeah.
he manages to survive that first night, and then since that time he just keeps well hidden, because if you think about it, right, they think they've killed the whole fucking town.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would they look for a boy?
Aye.
So that's how he lives for so long, because you probably find
They just
they
went into
you probably
hibernation.
find they just go into hibernation because they need the town to replenish,
Yeah.
and they need people to come back in so they can figure out who the fuck the two are. Like, I think that's what happens. That's why he lives so long. It's because they're probably just not looking for him. They'd probably just go into a sleep mode.
But we see how they sleep, because it's like they all look dried. in
Yeah,
season
they
3,
go into their actual like evil
monster
face
form,
monster
yeah.
form, and then so I'm like, yeah, I think that's what's happening. This whole cycle repeats, and I think that's where we're at as such. And now Miranda's the one who's now been reincarnated and is having to figure it out. Like, because I think it was Christopher is who they allude to would have been the reincarnation person, but I don't think he is. I honestly actually think.
I think it was another Elgin. Like
I don't.
somebody was talking to him, because it was like the boy.
The boy in white.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a boy Yall.
I just see my thing with it is I'm actually just almost convinced that they just didn't know who the man was, the reincarnated guy is. I think they just don't know. I think that's the biggest loophole of the whole thing that keeps it interesting. Is I think nobody knows. Christopher talking to the boy in white, I think, is just talking to somebody who's a good part of it. Like, there has to be a good and bad part of the entity. Essentially, like the entity's realm's bad, but there's like it's kind of like the god coming in to help, because he's like, but this is fucked. Like, and I'm like, yeah. So I think like, she's the cycle has to like reset, which is why the massacre happens. And I think you still have the same scenario being when they corrupt somebody long enough to get them to massacre the town as well.
Yeah.
I think that's also just part of the scenario of we just need to reset. Like,
Yeah,
I think if
it's
it's taken too long, there must be maybe 47 years or something like that is the fucking thing, and then they go, cool, too much time's passed, we have to reset, like, because they have to be within that window or something. And the thing with it is, my big thing right now is I don't think the talismans actually work at all. I'm convinced they don't, but the monsters follow the rules as if they do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's the whole like and like the whole kind of like shaman stuff that's like
I'm
these
a bit
things
of
work.
both, where it's like I would like it if they don't work, but I would be fine if they went like with the entity saying, "Hey, these do hurt you," and that's why. But they never test it, because it's like,
They never test it.
you've already got a mortality.
Yeah,
like,
well,
why would
I
you
think it's more
play
just
it?
I think it's more just like if you're following, like, I think it's the rules of the game. But if the entity's basically told them like this actually will hurt you, you probably would just be like, well, I'm not going to fuck with that in case it does.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to assume it doesn't. But I think we're going to get to a point where like they're going to figure out shit, and I think a monster is going to come to one of the doors that they're in hiding, and he's just going to open the door, and you're going to see like a shot of the fucking talisman fucking just shaking.
Oh, it just
back
falls to the ground.
No, I don't even think it falls. I think you just see it moving back and forth as he just opens the door normally, and then they're like, "Oh fuck, that doesn't work,"
Yeah.
and then they scatter, kind of thing. Like, I think we'll get the same kind of scene with the wee granny when you realise that the talisman's not on the door, and she just kind of walks in because she's like, no rock on door, pal. Like, I think we're going to get a scene like that, but it's going to be with Smiley, but he's going to be fucking drenched in blood the same way we've seen him this episode, because he's going to have massacred half the town. I also am convinced that the policewoman is who they're going to corrupt enough to then commit the mass genocide of the town. I'm convinced it's her, because Donna said it fucking perfectly in the episode. We all know there's no fucking bullets in that gun. Stop fucking holding a gun to people. Constant. That bitch has got a fucking gun to everyone's fucking head. Every fucking time.
Surprisingly, she didn't annoy me as much as the
No,
rest.
she fucking, honestly, she fucking pisses me off.
Like,
Because we know the fucking gun's got no bullets in it. And so everyone in the town knows there's no bullets in the gun. So it's not even like a fucking threat of, did I find one on the floor? It's we know it's an empty gun. Stop being such a pain in the cunt.
but
Like,
then when
she's
she starts
so
shooting
annoying.
somebody, you're gonna be
That's
like,
the thing, but that's going to be
she
the
has
thing.
bullets.
When she finds it's going to then become, oh shit, she found the box.
Yeah.
Because Boyd's breaking down and he's fucked. Like,
Yeah.
Boyd, I think the story's alluding to the idea of Boyd's going to be the one to do it, but I think Boyd's still going to hold strong. and it's
I
going to
think,
be other people that break as such. Like that's where I'm at with it.
It's going to be somebody who'll see him crack for like a second, but like not everyone sees it, and it'll be like maybe the policeman just like sees him like breathing like just with a gun or something ready to shoot himself or something, and she's like, makes sense the way it takes the bullets.
Aye.
Like
Yeah, or like kimono lady starts talking to her in her ear and stuff like that, and then she goes psycho.
Aye.
Because I think that's what Boy's wife did. I think there's voices in her head because they already say it, but it could be the boy in white or it could be bad people. We just don't know. And then they go psycho and she shoots everybody because she says that's the way out.
Yeah.
As such, because she thinks, oh, the way out is you die, and then you're outside the realm when you die.
Yeah.
As such, which is probably true for everyone that dies because you probably just die. But they obviously do that because they're trying to get her to snipe. And it's like, I think that they corrupt somebody just to snipe the town because they don't know who it is. And I think sometimes the monsters probably don't know who the two are as well.
I think that's part of the
like,
game.
I think it because I think at this point, I don't even know if they think. I think they don't even know it's Miranda.
Yeah, that's,
I don't think they think it's Miranda.
I think it is just straight up to for them. It's they actually made it a game rather than it being like. But like they anytime just go, there's two people in here you need to find. It was just more of a, we know, like eventually two people come in that can rake this, can end immortality, while we're waiting around for them. Might as well have some fun. And that sounds kind of fucked up, but like.
Yeah.
The monsters like.
It's like immortality. You must get bored at some point.
Yeah.
And then it's like let's make shit up to do. Because they obviously, because the thing as well, bear in mind, they're trapped just as much as everyone else. They can't clearly leave the realm, so they know they're trapped for eternity in this realm. So like, I get that you would make up stuff to do.
Yes.
Right, what else is on the list? I think we wrapped through most of that. To be
Nearly there.
honest.
There's a one or two more. So we did talk about where the fuck's the shotgun.
Yeah.
He touched the talisman. That was important. Yeah. Well, at least I think it is.
So Aaron was saying how the man in yellow, when he turns into the wee girl, for instance, he was able to touch the talisman. I'm still convinced it's because the talisman has fuck all power. So that's also either I don't think he's the same as the monsters. Obviously, I think he's his own separate thing.
Separate. Yeah.
So he probably could have the power to touch shit and interact with more stuff. I mean, let's be honest, he's shape changed into a wee girl.
Yeah.
Like, and then gave a man a seizure, like, to drive him, like, well, she drives him into the police station. And she's like, left.
It's so brilliant.
Like, I think there's stuff like that, but the fact that she's able to, like, touch the talismans, I think means that she could probably go around the town and fucking take talismans off the door. If people aren't checking, they're on the doors and just assuming. Yeah. And then a monster comes in, and then people are going to, that number's going to get lower. For instance, I think that.
But it's one of those where I'm still in the camp of, yes, he touched it, but that's to show that it's like, he can actually do it. Like they do work, but he's the one. He's the one in control. Aye. He can because we know it's going to be a massacre by the people, not the monsters. Because he even said it, he's like, this is my favourite part. This is my best part where they all turn on each other. Aye. And so you're like, aye, which is why I'm thinking it's the policewoman. I'm giving her a bad rap, right? But she came in like a fucking dick. I mean, she shot somebody instantly. She immediately fucking. There's a reason why she got the. There's a reason why she's not allowed bullets. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can tell she's a rookie cop. She's just too trigger happy in a small town. Yeah. But there's just wee things like that, and I think there was one more thing on the list. I mean, technically, we spoiled at the very start was the big reveal. Where she kills the pastor, and then obviously like explains how like shit's about to break loose. But yeah, that pretty much is everything. Just double checking. Yep, that is everything that we kind of picked up on. Kind of questioned. Yeah. So like I think as I was saying like at the start of this episode, essentially like. Next week's is going to be way more us watching the episode, so you're going to see way more us in the moment. Yeah. As such, this is just because simply work got in the way of this one specifically. I'm going to try and set these to go. I'm going to try and get this one out on Saturday. So like we're recording this like we're on Thursday. So I'm working tomorrow, so I'm going to edit this after work and then have it go on Saturday.
I think the plan going forward though is we're going to be able to watch the episodes, get it edited up, and then I think we're going to drop it either Wednesday or Friday. I don't know which two yet. I think Wednesday's probably the best day to drop it, just because it's going to be the most fresh in the moment.
Gives time to actually get it edited, recorded, up.
And like as I say, I think it's going to be that scenario where it's going to be more, you're going to see like in the background, for instance, I've got this one up just now just as something, but you're going to probably see like moments where we're watching the episode and stuff like that, and it'll probably be in the background for us as such, but that's what we're going to be watching. I think that's going to be the plan ultimately, and I'll have a better format for this one in general, mostly because I think we're going to also be able to condense these down in general.
Quite a lot,
Like I think this is a bit more, this is a bit more of a ramble one, just because like we're having to remember bits from the episode from watching it and stuff, and had the list and stuff of just things we picked up on. But yeah, these will be shorter for the next ones going forward, unless all hell breaks loose in an episode, in which case we get a million theories. But then also, if you like this sort of stuff as well, we probably could dive into individual theories as well. As such, there's definitely things like talismans and stuff like that, and looking up all the different bits of information we get.
Shots.
Of like, hey, what do we think of this and that and stuff, along with then at some point, probably closer to the end of season 4, we'll probably start doing a rewatch of season 1, 2 and 3, and doing the same thing as well. Because obviously with the rewatching them, we're going to have so much more information we can pull into them that we might be able to ping on things way easier. We're like, we missed that the first time round.
For example, and it still annoys me, the only smiling kid zombie in I think season 2, he shows up one time and goes, "Do you not remember me, Julie?" And then he never shows up again.
And is that the man in yellow?
Yeah, that's...
For instance, like, there's so much to it. But then I also think from season 1, there's also like a lot of them that disappear. Like it feels like there was way more monsters.
Get destroyed.
I mean as in there was way more monsters.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't see as many. Then all of a sudden it becomes like 12. I think there was maybe just a lot of extras that were monsters, and then they says, "Oh, actually, like we've written the story, and it's now 12 or whatever it is." So yeah, these episodes will get shorter, but more precise. Or if people like the rambles, we'll keep the rambles as well. To be fair, like I think there's a world for both. But yeah, I'm going to try and get this. This will go live on the Saturday. So when you're watching this, we've like edited a couple of days worth of it as such. And then we're going to have it where it's way more consistent, and probably a Wednesday I think will be the idea. Just so that it's really fresh. And then if people have suggestions, things they want talked about, just put it in the comments below and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
good.
episode 1 of 2 and
Nearly
from.
said 4.
I know. Episode 1 of 2 and from. Done.
Nice and easy.
Yep. And we'll see you all next week for episode 2. Catch you later on.